This is your one and only Firespark81 with your daily dose of video goodness. Welcome to the first ever weekly episode of Early Access, where we cover all your video game news. Because we are celebrating Ark's first birthday, and because they just released a big update, this episode will mainly focus on Ark. So let's get to it. First of all, they added 2 new creatures / dinos. I don't know why they call them creatures in the patch notes, but anyway, they do. So 2 new dinos, the Diplodocus and the Leech. So with the Diplodocus, we get the new saddle with multiple seating, holds up to 10 people, and the ability to allow all other multi-seated dinos to carry people who are not in your tribe. So basically, you could run a taxi service. I don't see this ever really being a thing, but you know, just in case. So let's talk about the Diplodocus a little bit. A few things I noticed. I summoned one of these guys in, was playing around with him, and he's pretty interesting. One thing I noticed is that he deals absolutely no attack damage, and you can't put any points into his attack damage. He has a percentage there, but you can't, there's no plus symbol there to put anything into it, which is rather interesting. He does have one heck of a knockback though, which is pretty cool. Other things I notice, these guys are really fast. For the size that they are, they run like a trike, but because they're bigger, they seem to cover more ground faster. They got that gallopy sprint thing going on. They're crazy fast for as big as they are. It was kind of surprising when I first got on it and started running around with it. However, if you get one of these bad boys in water, it's bad. They're dreadfully slow. I mean, you would kind of expect them to be, I guess, but if memory serves me, I thought Diplodocus was partially a water dino or spent most of its time in the water like a hippo, so I guess I kind of expected it to be a bit faster in the water. Not like crazy fast, but not as sad as they are once they get in the slightest knee-deep water. A few other things I noticed. They got pretty decent hit points. The one that I spawned in, and I did a do tame on it, so it was as though I had a perfect tame basically, and it was level 52 after I did the do tame, and it had 4,080 health and 1,045 stamina. So they're pretty beefy. I mean, they're not as big as a Bronto and about, I don't know, just a little bit smaller than a Paracerium, however the hell you pronounce those. You guys know what I'm talking about. So, I mean, those stats are pretty good. And I guess the increased stamina goes with, because of the fact that they have that increased run speed, so you can run with them. I'm guessing these are meant to be travel dinos. The other thing I noticed is that they got increased weight from the increased weight buff that the sauropods got also in this patch. So that's another thing that I want to segue into real quick here, that the all the sauropods, so the Diplodocus, the Paracerium, and the Bronto all got 100% weight increase. So basically it doubled what their weight was before. So if your Bronto had, you know, say 400 weight, now it's probably got 800 and some change, which this is really good. I always felt like these guys should have had a crap ton of weight anyway. They're massive, huge, hulking beasts. They should be able to carry stupid amounts of stuff. So let's move on to the Leech now, which was the other creature that got added. The Leech adds a few cool things to the game. One, it adds something that doesn't just hit and run, basically, as far as like mobs that are going to attack you. They attack you and they attach onto you and they slowly drain your health. They will also do this to your dinosaurs, and you can have more than one of them on you draining you at the same time. It's the same with your dinosaurs. I was playing around with it and it attached to the Diplodocus that I had tamed, and it started draining health. Now, the weird thing was, and this is something to look out for, and I'm guessing since it happened to me, it could probably happen to others, the bigger dinos, the first leech that attached to this Diplodocus attached underneath of his foot, and I couldn't see it. I was looking all over for it. It wasn't until I moved him over a ledge just a little bit and crawled underneath and looked up, I was able to see the leech. Now, when they do attach to your dinos, you can pull them off. When they attach to you, however, you have to stand in fire. So basically a campfire or a cooking pot, you stand on it and get damaged by it, and it will remove the leeches. The other thing that the leeches bring to the game is they add the new semi-permanent diseases. And I say semi-permanent because they're permanent basically until you make the cure and get rid of it, which is cool. Now there's two versions of the leeches in the game. Only one of them carries the disease. The normal leech is kind of brown and has the blue fins. The diseased leech, it will say it's a diseased leech, but they're like a reddish brown with reddish brown fins and kind of a orangish red underbelly to them. So while I was summoning in the leeches just to test them out, see how they worked, how fast they were and all that, they're not very fast in the land. They're not even that fast in the water. I expected this thing to chase me into the water and be like lightning fast once it got in the water, but it's about the same speed between land and water. So while you can easily outrun them, if you're not paying attention and there's a bunch of them around, you could get overwhelmed pretty quickly. And if you're not near your base, you're going to have to find the stuff to make a campfire. And meanwhile, you're getting drained. If you get the new swamp fever, then you're going to be even in more serious trouble. So let's talk about the swamp fever a little bit. I couldn't find actual 100% definitive stats on what this thing does. Apparently, from what I could tell, it decreases all stats by 20%, but then they recently just patched it, increased some stats, decreased some stuff. So it looks like it's going to take a little while before we can get a 100% definitive answer on exactly what this swamp fever does to you. Can tell you it's bad. Can tell you you can't get rid of it until you make the cure and cure it. Even if you die, you respawn with it. Also, anybody who comes close to you will catch it. I have no clue what the AoE is on it, but you don't want to get it. It spreads badly, and you can end up infecting your whole tribe, and hopefully you have the stuff to get rid of it. Otherwise, it's going to be bad. And because it's infectious and you can immediately get it right after you cure it, you're going to have to split up your whole freaking tribe, stay away from each other, and everybody basically drink this stuff, the cure at the same time. So swamp fever is bad. Stay away from the swamp, stay away from the leeches. You don't want that. So I know a lot of people are super excited about the new dinos, or the new dino and the disease and all that stuff, but honestly, you know what the freaking coolest thing they've added in this patch? I'd take just this for the patch and absolutely nothing else and be so freaking excited. They added a training dummy. The training dummy is the coolest thing I think Ark has added since, heck, I don't even know. I think it's the coolest thing they've ever added because it needed it. It is a structure that you cannot actually damage, but when you attack it, it shows you how much damage you or your dino you're attacking it with is putting it out, and then after a few seconds will give you a total DPS. That's freaking awesome, and Ark has needed that because you never know how much damage you're doing. Like, everything is percentage based, and it was always almost impossible to tell how much damage you're actually doing. I mean, yeah, you can go on the wiki and see, like, what's its nuts dinosaur does this much damage per hit, but then when you get in game and you start cranking up its percentage, not actual the number damage, it just changed how you perceive the number, and it's almost impossible to figure out exactly how much damage your freaking dino's doing. Now with the training dummy, you just swipe it one time, just hit it, and it will tell you. And you can find out stuff like, yes, the frog's secondary attack does do more damage than its first attack. I mean, I always suspected it does. The wiki said it did, but when you're out there in the middle of the swamp attacking stuff, it's hard to really tell. But now, yeah, you can see, hey, it actually does do more damage. One thing I did notice about the training dummy is that it does have hit points. So what I'm guessing is that when you place it, you and anybody in your tribe can't actually damage it. However, another dino or another tribe should be able to actually damage it and tear it down. But yeah, it's still awesome. Thank you, Arc Devs. Thank you so much for adding the training dummy. We really needed that. All right, on to the next thing I want to cover, because we're starting to rack up the time here. I want to talk about the dragon, the final boss. Now, I tried to get some footage of this, but it was rather difficult because when I got in there, I flipped to spectator mode and the dragon disappeared, and I was able to fly around and get some cool footage of the game and the arena, and found out stuff like when you're in spectator mode, you can go right through the lava and out of the whole entire game world, which is bad news. Don't want to do that. But I mean, if you did, you can do that. You can, yeah, it's totally a thing. Anyway, so then I went there, turned on God mode, and as you can see from the footage, just continuously got attacked by the dragon's massive amount of pteranodons and dimorphodons. I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed. You would think it's the dragon, and because the monkey summons more monkeys, big and small, and the broodmother summons smaller spiders, you would think that when you go to the dragon arena, you would get smaller dragons attacking you as the dragon's minions, not pteranodons and dimorphodons. I mean, that's just kind of weird. I mean, it would be easy enough for them to just scale down dragons and add mini dragons. I don't see how that would be difficult. I mean, and I'm not talking just BS here. I've messed with the dev kit. It wouldn't be that hard to duplicate the dragon, scale it down, change its damage. I mean, I wouldn't think, but it just seemed a little lazy to me, and it was kind of they just were out of place. But yeah, so Dragon Arena, that's great, that's awesome. Now we finally have all three of the bosses, so when you think you're super OP, you can finally go and prove it now by killing all the bosses. Another big thing that they added, and then the next thing that we're going to talk about, is the ability for servers to add offline raid protection mode. So when everybody in your tribe or yourself, if you're playing solo on a server, logs out, all of your structures and your dinos become invincible. Now what they don't go on to say, and which I have no clue, so if any of you have tested this and know, please leave a comment down below so we can all know, is there a time limit before this kicks in? Like, if anybody's ever seen the mod, offline raid protection mod, one thing that they do is they have a setting that allows you to save for 5 to 15 minutes or whatever you set it as after your team or your tribe logs off. All your structures and your dinos are normal, and then after that waiting time of 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever it's set to, then the buff kicks in. So I'm wondering if Arc took this into account, because otherwise what I see happening if there is no cooldown timer before this kicks in is, oh crap, I'm getting raided, log off. And then everything's invincible. So I hope they took into account that mechanic, because you know people are going to do that. You know a tribe is going to get attacked and they're going to be losing, so they'll all just log off. And then, yeah, all their stuff becomes invincible, and the tribe that's attacking them can't do anything. And then it's just a rinse and repeat situation. So I hope they added a cooldown timer. Like I said, I have no clue. They don't state it in the patch notes, and I really wish they would have. I think this is a cool option that they added, and I like to see that they're starting to implement stuff that the modding community has already thought about, decided to go ahead and implement before them. So the next two things that I want to talk about are kind of big. First of all, we finally get our first ever water alpha, the Mosasaur. You know what I'm talking about. Is now has the ability to spawn as an alpha, and apparently contains craploads of black pearls, so good for that. The bad thing here, and what I think is really stupid, is that they halved the XP you get from killing an alpha. It's not quite. It's 45% reduction. Now, why I think that is stupid, if you're playing on decent mode and with a challenge or on one of the freaking official servers, everybody knows that you eventually hit a cap where it becomes really, really difficult to level. You can freaking grind narcotic for hours and hours and not gain a level. And the quickest way to get through that cap is to go out and kill alphas. The fact that they've made that take twice as long is kind of dumb. I don't understand their thought process in this XP reduction at all. I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on this. Do you all think that this is a big deal, or do you not care? Are the non-official servers so popular now with the insane XP gains that it doesn't really matter? Or yeah, let me know your thoughts. I want to see what everybody else thinks. I think it's a dumb choice. I like the fact that they finally added a water alpha. I think that's awesome. I think they should go ahead and add water alphas of each of the water dinosaurs. If nothing else, at least do pleasies, so you have pleasies and mosses. So we got 3 more quick things to cover. There was a lot more to the patch than what we're covering in this episode. I'm just covering the things that I feel should get the most attention, the big main things. If I left anything out that you think I should have talked more about, let me know in next Friday in our next episode of Early Access. I'll talk about it a little bit and give a little more in-depth detail. But so we got 3 more things to cover here, and they're going to be relatively quickly because we got to wrap up this episode soon. So auto turrets can no longer be built on Quetzal platforms or any platform that is on a dino. And this goes for the same with the plant turrets as well. This kind of sucks because the giant turret dino platform destruction was awesome. However, they did make a INI command that you can put in your configs to revert this back to the old way so that you can put your turrets on your platforms. Yeah, I mean, at least they gave us a way to revert it, so I guess it's not all bad. I just wanted to point it out that if you do play on an official server, that you can't do this anymore. The plant and auto turrets can only be placed on rafts and non-moving bases. Also, talking about plant turrets, now plant turrets use fertilizer per shot, which this I can agree with, because beforehand they didn't use hardly anything. You could fill them up completely with fertilizer and water them to get them started and then leave them be, and they get watered when it rained and took care of themselves. And they were just really OP for what they did. So yeah, I can agree with the consuming fertilizer. Plus, I mean, it's not like fertilizer is hard to get now anyway, so who cares? Last 2 things, they've also added an RPG stat mode, which is cool. The stats that you see when you're beating on a training dummy, you see everywhere when you're beating on anything. And I don't think they'll give you your DPS after a few seconds of beating on it like the training dummy does, but you'll be able to see the hit points pop up as you're damaging stuff, which I just thought was a cool little neat feature to add. I guess they figured since they went ahead and added it for the training dummy, they'd just allow everybody to use it anytime if they wanted to. And last but not least, the map did not get the update this patch. I was under the impression that it was going to be updated this patch, that we were going to get the Redwood Forest and they were going to extend the snow biome, but it didn't. Apparently that's coming next patch. Hopefully. We know how the ARC devs are. Anyway, they have a border in game. This border shows red on one side, green on the other side. If your base is on the red side, you need to move your base. I'm sure a lot of people have seen this border and weren't 100% sure what it meant. I saw some videos on YouTube where people were confused, but they posted it in some forum post I saw. Yeah, I don't remember where it was. It was kind of quick and obscure. But yeah, if you see this border and your base is on the red side, move it, because next patch your base will probably get destroyed. Well, that's going to do it for all of our ARC talk this week. That was a bit of a mouthful to say. want to cover a few other things just to get some other games in there because this is a gaming news series. First of all, Subnautica got a patch this week with some much needed updated goodness. They added chargers into the game so that you can now charge your power cells and your batteries, which is freaking awesome because beforehand, when that crap depleted, you just had to throw it out and then go craft another one, which was super annoying to have to craft them all the time because everything just chewed through them so quick. So yeah, that's a cool feature. I'm glad that they finally got that patch in. I look forward to playing some Subnautica and experiencing the charging goodness. Also, to many people's disappointment, I don't know how many people who watch my channel know about the game No Man's Sky. I'm pretty sure everybody knows about No Man's Sky. Was supposed to be released on the 21st, I think it was, of this month, and that release date has gotten pushed back. It is now going to be released on August 9th. Let's keep our fingers crossed and hope they make it. For one, I'm kind of disappointed, but I would rather have a polished game without crap tons of bugs than have it now. So let's hope they can get everything worked out and we can get this game out on August 9th because I can't wait to play it. The game looks awesome, and I hope it's not one of those games where it's all hype and then once you get to play it, it's a big letdown. Last but not least on the news list for today, because we're getting really close to our 30-minute mark here. I don't know how many people know about the game called YouTuber's Life. I've seen a few other YouTubers playing it, was looking at it. It looks really fun. It's a combination of Sims and RNG and I don't even know. It's its own thing, but what you do is you become a famous YouTuber in it. Yeah, so it's kind of funny to watch YouTubers who are already famous play a game where they're becoming a YouTuber trying to be famous. But I just wanted to let people know that has beat out Ark for top sellers in Steam's list of early access games that are out right now. The list now is YouTuber's Life followed by Ark. So it seems to be a pretty freaking popular game. I'm kind of surprised it beat out Ark and Subnautica. I was considering playing it, but as a series, but I'm still not 100% sure. If you guys would like to see me play this game, let me know in the comments and I'll see if we can make that happen. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. I will provide links down below to the Ark patch notes so you guys can see all the other details that got left out in this episode, and as well as the new commands list for those of you who own servers and want to be able to reconfigure all of this stuff, undo some of this stuff and what have you. Also leave a link down below to YouTuber's Life so you guys can check that out. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. There will be episodes of early access every Friday from here on out, unless it does absolutely horrible and everybody hates it, and then I'll stop doing it so no one has to suffer. That's gonna call it for this one. If you like this video, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy, don't want to leave a comment, still want to show your support, hit that thumbs up button. Until next time, thanks for watching.